Hey everybody, how's it going this week? Well, we're going to do a little interlude this week, talk a little bit about music or radios or audio stuff, because I got big ears and those big ears need some filling sometimes. And, when I'm busy working on things, whether it's at work or at my house and, writing up articles or whatever, sometimes, dead air doesn't really help, focus on things. Because the quiet can sometimes drive you a little crazy. Obviously, I'm wearing a fursuit, so it obviously has been working quite fine for me. But, that being set aside, is that there are options out there for furry people who want to listen to audio sort of things if their opportunity allows it. Basically, if you have if you work at an office job, such as myself, where they will let you listen to music or things on your headphones, should you not need your ears open for anything else. You can always use your smartphone or whatever device that you have, or in order to play music so that you can listen to it. So, for us furries, we actually have some options. There are two big ones that I am quite aware of. There might be even more out there, so if you go looking around for music apps, you might be able to find some. But we're going to talk about the two that I'm really familiar with today, and that is furry.fm and AllFurRadio. So let's get into talking about it a little bit. The interesting thing about the two items is that they have. Let's see. So that. All right. So we'll talk about furry.fm first. The interesting thing about furry.fm is that of these stations, it has the FM in it, which is like the style of radio which has usually like play in your car or your old-fashioned radio box. That technology that everyone's still familiar with over all these years. The kids might not know what an AM station is, but that used to be the frequency of choice, and then they changed to higher quality FM style of radio stations. And I think most people are still familiar with what an FM station is. So this thing, interestingly enough, when I've listened to furry.fm, it doesn't really quite remind me of an FM radio station all that much, at least not as an American FM station. It might be different in other parts of the world. And then since this one seems to be based out of Germany, at least from what I can tell, it might be maybe more European style of FM radio. Maybe they don't have so many commercials over there. If they don't, then I am envious of you a little bit. The fact that basically the only advertisement that you'll run into using the furry.fm map is when you open the app, it'll probably like play a video, like one video, or it'll like have an ad that you can just pass by on your phone, and then you can listen to it pretty much ad-free, from what I can tell. So that's this big strength. It has a good variety of music, of many different genres, but usually during certain hours of the day there will be a particular leniency towards particular genres, such as it seems like in the early morning weekdays there's more of electric style. I'm not a music person. I'm not a music expert. Those house trance style of electronic genres, but they're not bad ones. For sure. And then that's always a good thing to listen to early in the morning. As I get towards noon Eastern time, they tend to go towards more. They start to bring on the voice talents over there, because I believe that 12 Eastern is actually when their afternoon starts over there. So basically, like, the people are getting off of work over there, so they're able to bring on more talk individuals. And since it is based out of German, you will be hearing people talk in German. So if you obviously, it's like if you can't understand German, you'll just have to kind of like go through it and wait for them to move on to the next song. But if if you speak German, or if German's your natural language, or if you speak German as a secondary language, obviously, or if it's your primary language, obviously you would want to check this. If in English is your secondary and you're watching this channel, thank you for watching. A foreign language. If I were a real American, I'd be saying they're speaking foreign languages, and I'd be like, yeah, every language outside of your language is a foreign language. Someone's English is a foreign language to other people. Come on, get with it, Roo. Get with it, man. So yeah, furry is a global phenomenon. So you kind of do have to understand that some furry services are not going to be held in a primary English-speaking country. That's just how the world is. So if you don't mind it, you can kind of like bear through it, or if not, then you can kind of like close the app and move on to like another one, or you move on to AllFurRadio, or you could do whatever you need to do. It seems like very uncommon that they have talky guests. It's not a frequent thing. I'm not sure of what their scheduling is. And the reason I'm not sure of what their scheduling is because, like, unlike AllFurRadio, which we're going to talk about in a moment, they don't really advertise their programming on their own channel, which can be beneficial sometimes and it can be harmful in others. Because, as we'll get into, knowing when something is going to happen can help promote it. But if you over-announce it, then people who are your regular listeners will have information that they already know, and it gets redundant and old, and that can be kind of problematic, but we'll get more into that when we talk about AllFurRadio. But good quality sound of music. I like the music that they play. Sometimes they go into real old genre music, and sometimes they go into, it's got a good variety, because it's like music I didn't know I wanted to hear, but you hear it and it's like, oh yeah, I remember that song, or that song's pretty cool and I never knew about that particular genre. So it's always give it a download. It's on your phone app store or phone app things, and you can download these for free. So go ahead and do that. And then we got AllFurRadio. So AllFurRadio is more based in America. So you're going to have primarily English-speaking individuals as casters. So if English is your primary language or your only language, it might be more things. Now, let's say for the furry.fm, they do have English-speaking guests as well, in English-speaking programs. There are the biggest one that I know of that furry.fm has is South Africa. South Africa, I think that's how you pronounce it, has a podcast that they bring people on for, and they speak English. So there are English-speaking people who go on to furry.fm as well. So they dabble in multiple language. Being bilingual in German and English will certainly help you enjoy the app more. But furry.fm, I've only heard them speak English. I haven't heard any non-English speakers on there quite yet. But it is based more out of America, I believe, or maybe it's England. I don't know which one runs this app. But there are people from the English, the more English country. So you'd have the more English-speaking English people, what do they call UK, Great Britain style English. So I have heard people speak in that style, but I haven't heard anyone speaking non-English languages quite frequently. But furry's a international thing that might change. What is more interesting about furry.fm is that it certainly, as far as like a thing goes, it has a feel of an FM station, ironically, and that can be very good because it can make it feel like a place. You know what I mean? Like if you were to basically open these apps blindly, right? If you were to just open the apps and have your eyes closed, not know which app is being played or what even the name of the app is. It's like, here's a radio app. Here you go. Furry.fm, you wouldn't really be able to recognize it as furry unless you understood, like unless somebody told you it was, or someone speaking at the time. But for most of the time, you're not knowing it is a furry app. You're hearing music, and because there's a lot of music on their app, and you can hear it. But you won't be able to dictate like that it's actually a furry app. It's just like a radio app. Like you're hearing songs, and sometimes you'll hear songs from like prominent furry music groups like Look Left, and Pepper Coyote's band there, and you'll go, oh, okay, I recognize Pepper Coyote's music, and I think the one genre of music I don't like from .fm is that I don't know what it is. Is that one? Let's go back to them since I'm gonna talk about that. There is the one style of music I don't like, and that is there's like this RPG Maker sounding songs. I think it's called Avalon or something or other. I can't remember the name of the band, but it sounds like basically a poppy JRPG like fighting style of like music, and it's like, am I like in an RPG battle right now? Like this, it feels like I need to be doing something else other than what I'm doing. I mean, that's the only one I'm not a big fan of. Obviously, it might be a big genre over wherever, like in Germany or something. That do 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 do. It's like it sounds like it comes out of a video game, but it isn't really. It's just it's kind of weird. I call it like RPG Maker songs. And but anyways, the thing is, like, if you were going back on topic, I'm going on a tangent here. If you were to go blindly into like not knowing like what's being loaded, eventually, like for AllFurRadio, it will present itself as like, here's AllFurRadio, here's who we are as a station, or here is a show that we have that's every night at, here's the Two Vixens and a Wolf show. Which, by the way, Two Vixens and a Wolf will be making an appearance on Kage's wine stream tonight. So there is that. And I'm going on their show tonight at 3:30 or 4. They have a show at 4 that they do, and I'm going on that one there, which is kind of why I'm also doing this at this time. So full disclosure. And I wanted to kind of cover furry music apps in general, rather than just like covering AllFurRadio and promoting them, because like I feel like it's like that, having the knowledge about the communities is better, and sort of doing sort of a review of them. They do good about promoting their own material. As I said, though, if you are a regular listener of AllFurRadio and it's like, oh yeah, Two Vixens and a Wolf show is then, and this show, the Pickle Invasion show is at this point, then you already know when they are, and if they play the ads too much, then it's like, yeah, I know when the Pickles thing is, and luckily they do good enough quality with their advertisements where it's not too annoying to listen to too often, but they will pop up. Those ads will pop up. Those audio ads will pop up every once in a while, so you just got to be aware of it. It does give it a feel of a radio station, though, which is good. Also, it does offer advertising sort of services, it seems, to not like to things outside of its own furry studios. I don't know whether or not you have to sign up for something like that or not, but I have heard Second Life advertising for particular what they call them, servers and things like that, and gathering places. I don't know whether or not they have a hand in it and that's why they're advertising it, or if it is sort of a monetary thing. But the fact that there is a sort of thing for advertising or for informing people about communities for furry fans is actually a good thing. And I think that's that is a good thing. It does seem like some of their advertisements are for, like, at least one of the advertisements they had is for an adult community. So they don't shy. It doesn't seem like they shy away from the adult side of the furry fandom as a community either. And even in their WikiFur page, it does indicate that The WikiFur page is sort of outdated. It does say that they were, so apparently AllFurRadio existed at one point, and then they kind of had a hiatus, and then they came back. And the WikiFur does say that in their old days they were, they did have adult, or like they basically talked about adult-oriented things. Like it's not like they shied away from the adult side of the furry fandom. But they do, as far as music goes and the music selection that they have. If there's a person on, if there is a DJ on, or a person on, or a personality on, there will be a particularly different style of music depending on who the personality is. So, interestingly, like the genre of music will depend upon the personality behind the desk. If there is no personality behind the desk at the time, it sounds like there's like a preset list of songs that kind of loop through. And if you listen to it for like an 8-hour period, you're probably going to hear 1 or 2 repeats. And if you listen to it repeatedly for multiple weeks, you're going to start to know some redundancies and repetitiveness. I mean, you'll notice that at furry.fm too, but I notice it less frequently when I listen to furry.fm for a month and I listen to AllFurRadio for a month. There was less repeating on furry.fm than there was on AllFurRadio, other than just recently when I listened, and it seemed like they were switching the genre list a little bit, so maybe they're switching it up a little bit. But other than that, I've rambled on about furry music for a long time, and so the big thing, if you listened all the way to the end, and I'll put it in the description below, is that I will be joining one of the personality shows this evening at 4 o'clock Eastern Time on this Sunday. And after that, Kage will be doing his wine stream, and he will be talking with 2 vixens and a wolf. So I hope to see you there. Go ahead and download these things. If you're interested in either of these apps or both of these apps, they're both available on Android devices. If there are Android emulators for PCs, which I'm sure there are, but I'm not tech savvy enough to know if there are or not, and you don't have a smartphone, there are probably services that you can use in order to use apps on your PC. I'm not aware of those, but if you are in that situation, you probably know that there is what they are. Then you can download these apps and then tune in to listen to those particular channels. So that was a long, rambly video, and then more educational than entertaining, but that's sort of what this channel is about. So I guess we have to have some sort of dry things every once in a while, but thank you very much for listening through it anyway, and thank you very much for watching. Kick that like, kick the subscribe button, kick a comment in the comment section. Are there any other furry genre musical radio style apps that I've missed that you listen to on a regular basis? Because those are the only 2 I'm really familiar with. There might be more out there. In fact, with the furry fandom, there's probably is more out there that I'm not aware of and aren't known to me. So if you want to share your experiences with these apps or other apps, you can go ahead and feel free to comment in the description below. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again next week.